That was really horrible. They had ransacked the store.
Vanessa Boyd and other Bronzeville residents describing the tumultuous scene last night at 31st and Michigan.
There was a whole bunch of kids out here, and they was all in the gas station. They were causing a mess.
I know as teenagers we made mistakes, but we have never done anything like this.
Hundreds of young people, according to witnesses, migrating from a lakefront gathering to 31st and Michigan.
Throwing trash everywhere.
The crowd blocking traffic and in a few instances even climbing up on startled motorists' hoods before windows were broken out at this nearby BP gas station. These photographs showing the aftermath of what witnesses say was dangerous looting and destruction. Chicago police called to disperse the crowd.
It was about 150 police people walking on bikes, detective cars. There was a bunch of them.
Local residents in a state of shock, wondering how and why this happened.
I've been here 22 years now.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I ain't never seen it like this.
I always sit back and wonder, what are the parents doing?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Once again, we got to talk about the young scholars of Chicago, because these teen takeovers, okay, continue to happen on what seems to be a weekly basis, okay? Every weekend, it seems like there is a teen takeover. That video I showed you guys was from a week ago, okay? We're going to talk about a teen takeover that happened this past weekend, because, again, this stuff is happening with increased frequency. It's almost as if the young scholars of Chicago heard Brandon Johnson, the new woke mayor, come into office and say, don't demonize these kids, right? You can't judge them, right? Don't demonize them for being agents of chaos. It's almost as if they heard that and they smelt weakness, right? Like sharks smelling blood in the water, right? They know what's up. They know they have free reign to do whatever they wanted to do because, again, this mayor is on the side of the teenagers, right? He's not a law and order type of mayor. Now, before I get into this, I want to say something because it's funny. Because I've been accused of monetizing or making money off the back of incidents like this that involves the pain and suffering of the black community, right? That's what the woke revolutionaries accuse me of. However, what they don't know is that YouTube, they've been demonetizing these videos, okay? Because of the violence, which I mean is very, very, very mild, okay? That I actually show in these videos with the teen takeovers, but they've been either demonetizing them or age restricting the videos, right? So I don't expect to actually make any money off these videos. So I'm actually really just doing this out of genuine curiosity and the fact that I want to see if the progressive utopia vision works, right? I want to see if this is working. I want to see what happens when you invest in the youth, right? As if, you know, Chicago and these inner liberal cities haven't been investing millions of dollars in youth for years now, okay? And this stuff still happens. They tell us that, hey, they just need jobs, right? They just need things to do, okay? But hey, so far, okay, in regards to Chicago's summer, hasn't been much better than prior summers, as again, these teen takeovers continue to happen. But before I get in there, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel and you want to support my channel, you can check out some of my merch. Like, for example, my racist mug, which is a daily reminder of the 2023 definition of racist according to the left. It also has my logo on the back. You can also check out my shirts, like, for example, this shirt I'm wearing right here, my base shirt. You can check that out at my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code TEAMBCP. So without further ado, let's roll the clip of some residents and business owners complaining about the latest Chicago teen takeover and how basically police can't really do much about it. Take a look.
By now, you may have seen some of the teen takeover in Lakeview late Monday night.
We should have tiered deployment detail to the red line at Belmont and Sheridan.
Many here jumped off the red line at Belmont, soon blocking traffic and jumping on cars. No violence, but disruption and damage. This smashed up car is just one result. Comedian Dominic Racino had just finished a 9:30 show at Annoyance Theater when he tried to get his car that was parked at 925 Belmont.
I see like a riot happening down the street and just sort of surrounded by cops that are just like watching. I went up to one of the cops and I said, my car's in there. And he looked at me and he said, you're and I was really like faultless and without a choice.
Dominic and his partner had just bought the car as a Christmas gift to one another, and now it's in the shop with $15,000 worth of damage.
Everyone was like, well, you got to call your insurance, and we did, and they were like, oh, you don't have the package that covers mob insurance.
There was no celebration yesterday. It was just pure chaos.
Roddy Hashish is the manager of the Slice Shop. The restaurant, just steps from the Belmont Red Line stop, was surrounded. He shared this video he took from inside the store of teens dancing on cars and drinking in the streets.
Right away, we decided to close both the store and the restaurant, and we stayed all night watching, making sure nobody broke in or nobody vandalized our business.
CPD officers worked to control the crowd and move them out of the area, but the teens left behind a path of destruction. People were horrified by the extent of the damage this morning. Shoe prints on cars, hoods dented, windshields broken.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Grace Rowan said she even heard gunshots and was too scared to leave her apartment.
It has been very chaotic, and as somebody who's lived in Lakeview for honestly the past 3 years, it's very scary to see how things have changed over time.
People are hoping the city steps up to prevent this from happening again.
The disappointment doesn't end there. When police asked CTA to help slow the flow,
they said that they are not going to bypass the station. They're still going to stop there.
Can you contact Truth and Fans, see if we can get barricades over here?
when officers were asked to go to another call.
We can't answer that, but we're way outnumbered here.
We asked OEMC for a response. We were sent to Police News Affairs, who said in a statement, CPD works closely with the CTA and the Department of Streets and Sanitation. We frequently collaborate and coordinate in public safety efforts and greatly appreciate their continued partnership and support. Chicago police say detectives are investigating Dom's case as well. Natalie Martinez, NBC5 News.
Our thanks to Natalie.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Not off to a great start for woke Mayor Brandon Johnson, okay? Because as you can see there, there's chaos going on in his city. Teenagers continue to riot. They continue to take over the streets, and they're quite literally terrorizing neighborhoods, right? You have black residents complaining about it, business owners complaining about it, other woke residents complaining about it. Everybody's complaining about it, okay? I mean, they're just agents of chaos. And this is why, me personally, when it comes to local elections and voting for, local projects and initiatives, I'm not one of these people that will vote to have a public transit system go from the inner city to the suburbs, right? Because I don't want the hooligans from the inner city coming out to the burbs, right? Because, low-key, the move is to live in a Republican red suburb right outside of a liberal city. That way you get the benefits of having a city close by when it comes to, resources and stuff like that. But you also don't have to deal with hooligans, okay? And you get the benefits of living out closer into the suburbs, the country, where, you get more freedom, right, to a certain extent. Again, that's like the move, okay? That's the move. I don't want to ruin that, okay? Which is why I never vote for that, right? I never vote for public transit to come out to the suburbs. Now, here's the thing. I actually want to be fair to Brandon Johnson, okay? I'm not going to be a partisan hack here because I can't really blame him outside his rhetoric for what is happening right now because he just got in office, okay? This was happening before he got in office. It's still happening after he got in office. Now, his early efforts to prevent violence, right, haven't really worked. But again, he hasn't really had that much time to implement his woke vision. However, with July 4th coming up, it's going to be kind of a big test. It's going to be a big test of this new program. Well, it's not even new. It's an old program. But under Brandon Johnson, he's focusing on this program, a summer jobs program that he swears up and down is going to stop these teen takeovers. Because remember, these teens just need stuff to do, right? So if you give them jobs, then these teen takeovers will stop. The violence will decrease. And, they're going to be living in a progressive utopia, right? And his summer jobs program did not start until a few days ago. So I want to actually play a video clip of that so you guys can understand what currently is happening and what's in the works, because we're going to see if this program is going to be effective given that July 4th is coming up. I mean, there's really not too many excuses, considering that, again, this jobs program is starting, and we'll see if that have an effect on violence and whether or not these teen takeovers continue to happen for the rest of the summer. Take a look.
Priority on the campaign trail, and about 6 weeks into office, Mayor Brandon Johnson is officially unveiling the city's youth summer jobs plan. CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey joins us live from City Hall. And Megan, you're asking how this year's plan is going to be different.
Right, Erica, and Mayor Johnson says they've already created at least 2,000 jobs for kids since last summer, but that is still well below the job levels we saw before the pandemic. Chaotic late-night so-called teen takeovers have renewed concerns about violence this summer.
Because this opportunity.
And Mayor Brandon Johnson has long said employment is the answer.
There is a tremendous demand here, and so when people speak ill of our young people, it's why I defend them, because they want the opportunities.
Unveiling his One Summer Chicago plan, Chicago's largest city-managed youth summer employment program. But to be clear, the program's not new. The city says in 2023, One Summer Chicago anticipates employing close to 24,000 young people across the city. While that's up from last year's close to 21,000 jobs, it doesn't come close to the youth employment stats in 2019, when the city offered kids more than 31,000 jobs.
So we are talking about a couple thousand more than last summer.
Jen Johnson, Deputy Mayor of Education, Youth and Human Services, pointed out that they've only been working on this since Mayor Johnson's inauguration last month, and blamed hiring procedures of different corporations.
There are processes that have to be followed, rules that have to be followed, so I expect to see ongoing growth, and then we're going to try to look and see what we can do to revamp some of those systems and processes.
Johnson repeatedly called it an all-hands-on-deck approach, with many stakeholders pitching in. Departments in City Hall will be taking on interns. The Chicago Police Department will also be filling about 76 jobs. Even the Chicago Cubs are opening up a pipeline to jobs through their concessions partner.
With these jobs that are non-traditional hours, work on the weekends, typically at night, we always have a need for talent.
Today was day one of orientation. To date, the city says the program has met 80% of its hiring goal.
Yeah, so with that being said, like I told you guys, I'm not going to be a partisan hack to Brandon Johnson, okay? I'm actually going to give the guy a fair chance because, quite honestly, I want him to solve the problems of Chicago in the sense that I hope that his woke vision works. If it reduces violence, if it reduces the frequency of these teen takeovers, hey, I'm all for it, right? I can't knock it if it works, right? Even though I don't think that it will work, but the woke studies say that it will, right? I found a study back from 2014 that says that summer jobs programs reduce youth violence. Okay, this study was actually done in Chicago. Let's actually read just a little bit here. A study from the University of Chicago and University of Pennsylvania has found summer job and mentoring programs for disadvantaged youth in Chicago reduced violent crime arrests by nearly half over a 16-month period. Dr. Sarah Heller, assistant professor of criminology at the University of Pennsylvania, said previous research suggested long-term intensive employment intervention was needed to reduce crime among disadvantaged youth. However, that common wisdom has not been studied vigorously, so Heller worked with the University of Chicago Crime Lab to set up an 8-week program in 2012, dividing 1,600 Chicago teens into 3 groups. 1/3 were provided summer jobs and mentors, 1/3 were given summer jobs, mentors, and counseling, and 1/3 were left on their own to find jobs. Heller said that those with jobs and counseling together had a 43% reduction in violent crime arrests, which continued for 16 months after the 8-week program ended. Quote, those 2 versions of the treatment, youth who received jobs or youth who received jobs with social emotional learning, had about the same drop in violence, Heller said. Yeah, so again, you know, there have been studies on this stuff. You would think if this was so effective that, again, they would have figured this out by now, okay? I mean, there's articles dating back to 2019 talking about how you had teenagers, okay, this is from NPR, which, you know, is hilarious, right? Look at the way they framed this. You have articles back from 2019 talking about hundreds of kids showing up in downtown, okay, a similar teen takeover type thing. They said most of them were black. According to social media and news reports, 31 were arrested, most charged with disorderly conduct. Again, when is the last time you've seen NPR actually state the race of these teens, okay? You know, I mean, they've gone so woke nowadays that they won't state the race because they don't want to be accused of, you know, stereotyping or demonizing black youth, right? But back in 2019, when they weren't so woke, okay, or not as woke as they are today, they called it out for what it was, right? Mostly black teenagers causing disorderly conduct. And again, what really blows my mind is that every time these takeovers happen, there's only a few arrests, right? They only arrest like 2 people. It's like, bro, I literally see a crowd of people causing chaos and destruction, and you're only arresting 2 of them. I think that's where the problem lies. I think the problem lies in enforcement. I think the problem lies in the household with the parents. I don't necessarily think that this jobs program is going to do much, but I can be wrong, right? I can be proven wrong, okay? In fact, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong on this. I want Chicago to get better because I don't want to see black neighborhoods terrorized, and I don't want to see downtown taken over by these teenagers. I want them to have jobs. I want them to gain skills. I want the best outcome for them, right? I'm not rooting for destruction and chaos, right? I'm rooting against it. So I hope it works. I really do. I just have my doubts, right? I just don't think that the people in charge, they're incompetent. I think they're naive. I think that they don't understand that the way you deal with this type of stuff is what old school law and order, right? And then you can start to, you know, fix things when you get the criminals and the agents of chaos off the streets, right? I'm just saying that's my opinion, right? But like I said, I hope this works, okay? I hope it works. We will see. I think it's a little bit too early to definitively say that Brandon Johnson has been a failure. We got to get a guy at least a year, right? Got to give him at least a year, maybe a couple years. Let's see how it goes. But until then, I will be documenting to see how this is going because I want to make sure I fully understand, right? I want to see if this progressive experiment actually works. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.